Hello, hello. DMG's Jim here, continuing to RTFM. We're reading through the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, continuing our tour of the Multiverse. As usual, we'll read first and talk second, word for word on the first part, and a little bit of commentary and some other resources on the second part of the video. So let's get to it. Next up, the Ethereal Plane. The ethereal plane is a misty, fog-bound dimension. Its shores, called the border ethereal, overlap the material plane, the Feywild, the Shadowfell, and the inner planes, and every location on those planes has a corresponding location on the ethereal plane. Visibility in the border ethereal is usually limited to 60 feet. The plane's depths comprise a region of swirling mist and fog called the deep ethereal, whereas visibility is usually limited to 30 feet. Characters can use the Etherealness spell to enter the border ethereal. The plane shift spell allows transportation to the border ethereal or the deep ethereal, but unless the intended destination is a specific location or teleportation circle, the point of arrival could be anywhere on the plane. The border ethereal. From the border ethereal, a traveler can see into whatever plane it overlaps, but that plane appears grayish and indistinct, its colors blurring into each other and its edges turning fuzzy, limiting visibility to 30 feet into the other plane. Conversely, the ethereal plane is usually imperceptible to those on the overlap planes, except with the aid of magic. Normally, creatures in the border ethereal can't attack creatures on the overlapped plane and vice versa. A traveler on the ethereal plane is imperceptible to someone on the overlap plane, and solid objects on the overlapped plane don't hamper the movement of a creature in the border ethereal. The exceptions are certain magical effects, including anything made of magical force and living beings. This makes the ethereal plane ideal for scouting, spying on opponents, and moving around without being detected. The ethereal plane also disobeys the laws of gravity. A creature there can freely move in any direction. The deep ethereal. To reach the deep ethereal, one typically needs a plane shift spell, a gate spell, or a magical portal. Visitors to the deep ethereal are engulfed by roiling mist. Scattered throughout the plane are curtains of vaporous color, and passing through a curtain leads a traveler to a region of the border ethereal connected to a specific inner plane, the material plane, the Feywild, or the Shadowfell. The color of curtain indicates the plane whose border ethereal the curtain conceals. See the ethereal curtains table below. The curtains are also distinguishable by textures and temperatures, each one reflecting something of the nature of the plane beyond. So we've got a D12 random roll, but the main thing here is if you're randomly traveling or if you just need reference. The material plane will usually be represented by a turquoise curtain. The Shadowfell is dusky gray. The Feywild is an opalescent reflective curtain. The elemental plane of air is pale blue. The elemental plane of earth is chestnut. The elemental plane of fire is orange. And the elemental plane of water is green. The para-elemental plane of ash is dark gray. The plane of ice is aquamarine. The plane of magma is maroon. And the plane of ooze is chocolate. These are the colors of the shimmering curtains that denote where the ethereal leads to a border ethereal leads to another plane. Note that these are the only 12 places that the ethereal plane connects. Traveling through the deep ethereal is unlike physical travel. Distance is meaningless, so although travelers feel as if they can move by a simple act of will, it's impossible to measure speed and hard to track the passage of time. A trip through the deep ethereal takes 1d10 time 10 hours from one curtain to another, so 10 to 100 hours, regardless of the origin and destination. In combat, creatures move at their normal speeds. An ether cyclone. An ether cyclone, your choice, is a serpentine column that spins throughout the plane. The cyclone appears abruptly, distorting and uprooting everything in its path and carrying the debris for miles. Travelers with a passive perception score of 15 or higher receive 1 minute of warning, a deep thrum in ethereal matter. Travelers who can't reach a curtain or portal leading elsewhere suffer the cyclone's effects. Or roll a 1d20 and consult the ether cyclone table to determine the effect on all creatures in the vicinity. Two columns, 3 categories, 1 to 12, 13, 19, and a dirty, and a 20 is nasty. So, rolling a 1 to 12 is an extended journey. Each character in a group traveling together makes a DC 15 charisma savings throw. If at least half the group succeeds, travel is delayed by 1d10 hours, otherwise the journey's travel time is doubled. 13 to 19, blown to a location in the border ethereal overlapping a random plane, which would then we'd use the border ethereal table to figure out where they ended up. Or 20, hurled to a random destination on the astral plane. Location, the Radiant Citadel. Against the unending mist and unseen terrors of the ethereal plane, the Radiant Citadel stands as bright as a bastion of hope. It's a living relic of the ingenuity and collaboration of 27 great civilizations on the material plane. Abandoned and lost for ages, the Radiant Citadel was resurrected from its slumber and reclaimed by descendants of those societies. The Radiant Citadel is a nexus of diplomacy and trade, a repository of histories and secrets, and a thriving sanctuary for those seeking safety or a better life. The floating city is a miracle of architecture carved out of a single massive fossil that snakes around a colossal gemstone shard known as the auroral diamond. The luminescence of the auroral diamond is mirrored in the constellation of 15 structure-sized gemstones, the Concord jewels that orbit the city and provide transportation to the far-flung homes of the city's founding civilizations. In the haze of the ethereal plane, the auroral diamond is a scintillating beacon visible from miles away. The diamond seems to have moods, changing colors unpredictably, but is always visible for wanderers lost and in need. Just beyond the city rolls a massive ether cyclone known as the Keening Gloom, a looming threat that's a grim reminder of the Radiant Citadel's precarious position. Heroes and paupers meet on equal footing in the Radiant Citadel. By common agreement, power and resources are equitably shared. Dignity is afforded to all, and great need is met with great aid. The ethereal plane adventurers. Adventurers typically use the ethereal plane to travel from one place to another, either skirting around material plane obstacles on the border ethereal or venturing into the deep ethereal to travel to the inner planes. The Radiant Citadel can serve as a home base for any campaign built around the idea of exploring new worlds. Several such worlds are introduced in Journey Through the Radiant Citadel, an anthology of short adventures. And that's the end of our reading. So, the ethereal plane is a transitory plane that we're going to go from point A to point B using this, similar to the astral plane that we spoke about earlier. The astral and the ethereal do connect, but the ethereal does not connect to the upper planes, okay? The outer planes, as it were, excuse me. You'll use the ethereal to connect to the astral, then the astral will take you to your outer planes. However, the inner planes and the material planes, including the Feywild and the Shadowfell, are completely connected and suffused with the border ethereal. Your players will likely have more access to ethereal travel than any other travel if you are not using the cosmic wheel. If you're using the cosmic wheel, the ethereal kind of falls off to the astral. But again, neither here nor there. The basics of use for ethereal travel are given in here. Movement is allowable in any direction. Encounters can happen, but there's not a ton of it. So yeah, the first thing that we're going to look at, like I said, is obviously the Radiant Citadel is going to be our first little stop for an extra resource. Okay. Journey Through the Radiant Citadel came out 3 years ago for 5th edition. It's the location that we just talked about in the DM's guide is represented as an anthology of adventures that also provides some information for the location itself, being the Radiant Citadel, spinning in all of its splendor out in the ethereal sea, as it is the auroral diamond, all that kind of stuff. Neat thing, neat place. But that's it. So the second thing that I would suggest, if you're wanting more stuff, again, this is probably far more information that you'll ever want or need for ethereal travel. But this is the 2nd edition, A Guide to the Ethereal Plane by Bruce R. Cordell from TSR's Planescape. Yes, you're seeing a lot of Planescape. The 2nd edition Planescape was a massive collection of source books that predicated nothing but gameplay in the outer planes, in the cosmic wheel. Ethereal gotcha, astral gotcha, inner gotcha, outer gotcha, upper gotcha, lower gotcha. If you're ever wondering about the planes, anything that's got a plane associated with it, odds are your 2nd edition Planescape is going to give you more information than you'll ever need. But yes, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here just letting you know that there's a lot of stuff that can operate within the ethereal plane. There's a lot of adventure opportunities. abound with a lot of things, both in addition to your players, a lot of non-player characters and other creatures that use the transitive planes of the ethereal plane to both to move around, travel, and to hunt. So keep that in mind when you include your ethereal plane into gameplay. But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. Our next one up will be, where are we going next? Stupid Radiant Citadel. Back a couple arrows. Next up will be the Far Realm. This will be fun. We're going to be talking about all of your aberrational stuff. But hey, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Likes, follows, subscribes are greatly appreciated. Join us over on Twitch for live chat. But feel free to join us for the next episode in this series. We'll see you soon. Take care.